One of the most common places for a trumpet to malfunction is in the valve area. So let's refresh our memory on how the valve works and the proper care and maintenance of the valve. So first here we have a typical valve. And then you'll notice that the top half is brass. It contains a spring and a valve guide. And the bottom half is made of nickel, and you can see it has all the holes there. It looks like Swiss cheese, and those line up with the different tubes on the trumpet. Now, in order to make the valve line up with the tubes on the trumpet, we have these valve guides. And the trumpet I play is the Yamaha Zeno. And on the Yamaha trumpets, the thicker of the two valve guides will go toward the bell of the trumpet. And I place the valve in the valve casing, and I turn it and it clicks into place, and then I can blow air through and it goes through unobstructed. Now, if I put the valve in 180 degrees turned, it might still click, but it's going to be in the exact wrong position. And now no air will pass through because those ports are not lined up with the tubes. No air will go through. So we need to first remember that our valve is in the correct way. Also, it's important to remember that we have the correct valve in the correct valve casing. Sometimes, especially with younger students, they'll take all their valves out and then forget which one goes where. Most trumpets will have 1, 2, or 3 stamped on that top half of the valve. Now let's go over some reminders of how to oil our valves. If we take our valve all the way out, we can place a few drops of oil. I usually do about 4 on the different sides of the valve. And then we place that valve back into the casing. And then screw the top of the casing back on. Then we can work that valve, blow air through to make sure it's in correctly. I recommend doing this once every day with all 3 valves. Now, you may see younger students try to oil their valves very quickly by dumping oil in the bottom of the valve caps. This is not the best idea because when you turn the trumpet back over, gravity is going to pull all that oil down and not oil the top half of the valve. So make sure you always take your valve all the way out, put a few drops of oil on, and then put the valve back in. Finally, if your valve is still sticking a little bit or is a little bit sluggish, what I recommend you do is take the valve all the way out and take a lint-free cloth and wipe that valve down. Put a little bit more oil back on and put it into the valve. If that still doesn't fix it, take the valve out. You can take the bottom valve casing off, and that way you can look all the way through the valve, and you can put again, that lint-free cloth all the way through the valve casing and work that cloth through to remove any obstruction that's in that valve casing. And then screw the bottom valve cap back on, put some oil on that valve, put it back into the casing, and everything should work nice and smoothly. If that hasn't fixed it, you may want to take it to your teacher or to another trumpet player who has had some more experience that may be able to help you. And if that still doesn't work, then you can go to the music store and they can for sure fix it for you there. So there are a few reminders to keep your valves in good working condition.